Tax খালি?
Microsoft, Amazon, Snowflake, Nvidia. I'm confused. These are the top four stocks right now, and I'm not sure which one Mitchell Stark is supposed to invest in come March. Because you got to do something with that money. You can't just leave it idle.
Well,
he's gonna buy out
first of
another
all,
insurance premium.
first of all, Australia, he has to pay tax of half of it. So he's paying 12 crores in tax, and he takes
Why?
home 12 crore. It's
Why?
it's
Oh,
it's 40%. 40% is the base rate, and then you go up from there.
okay. Yeah, I mean, he's just gonna buy out another insurance premium like he did back in 2017, and he's gonna get an insurance that says if he gets injured, he still gets paid the full money, and then they'll spend another 4 years fighting that case in court.
Crazy, crazy that that's an actual thing, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's reality
Anyways,
now.
let's talk about the auction now. So we've had the auction for what is it? The 16th season of the IPL,
16,
if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken,
I
16.
lost
or the
count.
17th.
Yeah, we've lost count at this point.
We lost count. Yeah, we
And
lost count
now
at this
they're
point.
starting
IPL
a T10
2024.
or whatever in September,
Yeah, yeah.
October, apparently.
Oh,
Yeah, so.
Jesus. IPL 2024 just had its auction. It was a crazy, crazy money fest. Cash just getting thrown around here and there, and the broken system of the auction with the whole imbalance surrounding the mega auction and the mini auction came into full fruition. People are talking about it openly, saying that there will be more players from Australia and England who will opt out of the mega auction in the future just so that they can rack up these big bucks in the mini auction. It's
Yeah.
unfair, but we can at least hope that the system corrects itself eventually. Otherwise, we can just keep expanding on the cash because it's not hurting them. Anyways,
Where is all this money coming from? Like this
no,
unlimited
it's
amount
a
of
it's
money.
genuine question though.
Yeah, somebody said KKR spent all of Shah Rukh Khan's earnings from Jawan and Pathan and Mitchell
That's
Stark.
the thing, and as funny as that joke is, Shah Rukh Khan, I'm pretty sure he hasn't had to spend a single money out of his own pocket because all the money and more is covered from the sponsorship. It's
Yeah.
just a huge amount of money that's at play over here.
The brand itself
Anyways, here to
is
discuss that is today's episode of the Bagher Adda, a bit different from our weekly Jata discussions. So, Fardin, let's start. Let's start with Kolkata first. They did start with a pretty big purse of 32 crores, and then they ended up spending a solid 24 on one player
One
alone,
guy.
24 and a half, in fact.
Yeah.
One guy, and we don't even know if he will be fit come March.
Yeah.
Having said that, does the overall KKR team still look fairly balanced enough, given that Shreyas Iyer is also back?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the way this KKR team, I think we talked about it this year when the IPL was happening, we kind of discussed in depth how we didn't really like how the KKR team was being operated as a whole. It seemed a little all over the place. And yeah, they seem to be trying to fill a gap here with Mitchell Stark's recruitment. But like you said, Mitchell Stark's they got what, two more tests against Pakistan, maybe two more against West Indies, a few ODIs and T20s leading up to that.
And
Is he
tests in
gonna
New
be
Zealand as well.
and tests in New Zealand? Is he gonna be fit? Does it make sense to spend so much of your purse from the auction on one player, right? I think I think they've kind of missed a trick, not getting an overseas backup opener. Because Jason Roy is obviously there, but he's kind of fallen out of favor across the world. He's playing more so T10s and things of that nature now, but he's out of England reckoning. So I don't know. We'll have to see what KKR brings up this year.
I'm just gonna load up the screen for KKR squad. So Alvi,
Yeah.
you were shaking your head earlier, trying to indicate that this is not a balanced team. What do you think is particularly missing here?
I think they've sort of lost the plot after Gambhir left. They've been struggling with their captaincy, with their squad composition ever since. They're way too dependent on Narayan and Russell for starters, and if if they sort of don't show up, KKR doesn't show up, and now you're spending. I mean, sorry, you're spending almost, let's say, 70% of your remaining purse on one guy. I mean, 24 crores. What's he gonna bowl for you? Six golden Yorkers every over? I mean, what's the best you can get from him?
And on top of that, they have like Gus Atkinson now. When you look at that list right there, and it's kind of a weird fall for Chetan Sakaria, from where he was maybe 2 seasons ago to now getting only picked up for 50 lakhs or whatever it is. But I think, like Alvi mentioned, this over reliance on Narayan and Russell seems,
And now Starc,
and now Stark just
because
seems super out of pocket.
they paid so much for Starc, and expecting anything less than him getting a five for every game is sort of, it's idiotic. If you paid that much, you expect that sort of a performance, but
Yeah,
you won't get it. So why are you paying all this money? It's sort of an ego thing. Of course, it's it's created demand, but it is definitely an ego thing where I've paid the most, this and that. He won't give you, like, let's be very honest, he won't give you more than, if you would have paid him 7 crore, 8 crore, whatever he would have given you, that might have been, a reasonable price. The 24 is, unless he does something, outlandishly good, I don't see anything happening. But besides that, if you look at the team, they don't have anybody. As the team is very polarizing. You've got some very good players, and you've got some absolute trash. There's no, there's no middle ground. Like,
yeah.
why are guys like, I mean, Anukul Roy, who is he? Why is he even playing? Vaibhav
Anukul Roy
Arora.
is specialist fielder. They only bring
Okay,
him on to field.
Vaibhav Arora, Varun Chakravarti is the biggest scam of 2021. Chetan Sakaria, he was good 2 years ago, but now he's run of the mill. Ankrish Raghuvanshi, Sherfin Rutherford is another scam. Manish Pandey, he's washed up. Uh, Saqib Hussain, we don't know who that is, so no comments. Nitish Rana is pretty much washed up by now. Unfortunately, before he could have played for the national team, he's losing it. The only good thing they've got going for him is the guy with the jawline, Rinku Singh. So yeah, I mean, that's all they've got going for him.
Let me play devil's advocate here. So, like I do pretty much every episode at this point. So, what's happening, the whole thing with Stark is it's less about the price tag and more about the fact that they needed someone exactly like him to play that role. Not now, but since 2018. That's when they first bought Stark, by the way. It was
Yeah.
a 9 or 10 crore contract. He didn't show up. That's what happens. They try to get him again now because that's the specific role they are targeting. They got Mitch Johnson as his backup back then. It didn't exactly work out all that well.
No. Yeah.
So the whole problem is when you need a player that desperately and with the 5 crore boost up that you get with every mini auction and you could add that to the 100 crore you have at the start of the mega auction, you basically have 110 crores. Each team in total has 110 crores by the time we get to the 2024 IPL auction. That means there's a lot of money to be thrown around. 110
Is
crores is
2024
an
the mega
enormous
auction
amount of
again?
money. No, no,
Sorry.
no. I'm
Oh.
saying 2024 mini auction. By the time you get to the mini auction,
Oh,
you
okay.
basically
You
have
had
a total of
right, right,
110 crores counting from 2022. That's when
right,
you're building up the team from.
right.
You're building it up from 2022. So 2022, 2023, and now this. There's one gaping hole left, and you have all this money in the bag. You have
Yeah,
32 crores. You
yeah.
want to spend an optimum amount of that money to fulfill those holes. Let's say KKR didn't go for mid start and saved up all that money,
Hmm.
who would they have invested that money on? That could be a question that could be presented because the other buys they needed a keeper. They got KS Bharat, a national team keeper right now. By the way, they got them for nothing, base price.
Yeah, yeah,
Chetan Sakaria, still a decent prospect. He isn't as good as he looked 2 years ago, but he's still young. There's still time. They got him
yeah,
for base price.
yeah,
Sherfin Rutherford, he's actually in good form. I wouldn't agree that he's a scam buy because if you get him at base price, he's playing regularly for the West Indies now. He's had a very good GT20, a pretty decent CPL after that.
yeah.
So again, an interesting buy. He's not going to
And
make your
he's
first
he's
11 most days.
basically his career is going backwards. Like
Of course, yeah.
everyone plays international cricket, and then they try to finish up with all these tournaments and trophies and stuff. At 24 right now, is it 24 or 25, something like that? Rutherford's basically won like every single tournament that is out there. So
without doing anything.
I mean, he's done. No,
Bro,
he's
bro, bro,
done.
bro,
He's
have you
done.
watched these
Have you?
tournaments? He was
No,
literally
no,
player of the tournament.
he's
No,
done. He's done enough.
he's playing in the
He's
West
done.
Indies now, but then he played the IPL I think 2 seasons ago, and he flew over and he played the PSL within a week, and he won both, but he wasn't in the playing 11 for either.
We're not talking about 2 years ago now. We're talking about 2023, what he's done so far in
Yeah,
2023.
yeah,
That's
like
what they watch in all of
CPL.
India.
Even since, I mean, I don't really see him as sort of being like a game changer, an impact player who can actually make
He's
a
barely
difference for
going to play
Kolkata.
anyway. He's there as a backup
That's
mostly.
that's why I'm saying he's not really somebody you would bank on to make a difference for the team.
But if you get a backup for
Backup.
1.5
Yeah,
crores, that's
exactly.
his base price, by
Yeah,
the way. That's a very good buy.
yeah,
If you consider that, like you're not
yeah.
buying a backup for 15 crores, you're buying a backup for 1.5 crores. That's not costing you much.
I mean, yeah, it's not a loss in terms of money spent, but I mean, if you're valuing a player based on what he can bring to the team, if he's considered a backup only, how is he contributing to the team in the first place? If you're talking about somebody who's going to
So then
bring
do you
you
not buy
trophies,
backups?
no, I'm not. I'm saying if somebody like him, if he's not going to win you games, if he's not making an impact on the team, why should he be considered a valuable buy in the first place?
No, but it's not whether he's a valuable buy or not. It's more so that for their middle order and for their finishing role, they have someone like Rinku Singh now. And
Hmm.
if they need a secondary option to Rinku Singh, or if they need a support option to Rinku Singh, they have an option in
Right.
Sharfin Rutherford
So
to go
then
back to.
who are your for? Who are you playing for then?
No, but obviously, if you play Rutherford, then someone else gets dropped. Right? Like Jason Roy is
And
probably
it's
not gonna
again,
play.
again, again. Another thing. Sorry, just to interrupt
Yes,
there. It's a
yeah,
2 month long tournament. You're not going to
yeah,
have four players playing all 2 months, right? There's going
yeah,
to be injuries. There's going to be inevitable drop in form. There's going to be chop and changes due to some international commitments towards the end and towards the start, not in the middle. So
yeah.
there will be changes according to that as well. There won't be a fixed four. You can have a starting four, but there will never be a fixed four. And right now, the starting four is very difficult to predict just for that whole availability thing. You know, Sunil Narayan is going to be available 200%. He has no commitments with West Indies whatsoever.
No,
And his full commitment with the KKR, it's almost as if they have this prenup thing signed up where
yeah,
they cannot drop him.
He's Sunil Narayan is Darren Sami is Sunil Narayan to KKR is Darren Sami to Peshawar Zalmi.
In a sense, yeah, but I mean, at least they technically told Sammy nicely that, okay, we're going to make you a coach instead of a player. So the whole argument with Sherfin Rutherford or any backup player for that regard is they're not going to have as much of an impact just because there will be four players you tend to play more than others. The whole thing with Rutherford is where he fits in within the dynamic. I think that could be argued given that he's a middle order batter. KKR's one problem that they don't have is the
and
middle
he's a
order.
seamer
Shreyas
too.
Iyer,
So
Nitish Rana, uh,
yeah,
Rinku Singh, solid middle order. Absolutely
yeah,
solid.
yeah,
And that too with three local players. You don't need a foreigner to come in. And then you have someone like Andre Russell coming in at number six. That's a solid middle four right there. You're not too concerned about Sherfane Rutherford. Russell gets injured, you bring in an extra bowler because remember, impact sub is still very much a thing. So you can bring in an extra bowler, substituting one of the batters, and you can bring in Sherfane Rutherford just to play that aggressor's role at number six if needed.
yeah.
So I mean, coming to you, all this talk about money and economics, where does this where does this stand in terms of KKR getting a good set of players at base price and then investing 24 crores on Mitchell Stark?
I think it was way too much investing on Mitchell Stark as the discussion progressed. Like for me, for a bowler investing that much doesn't make
So, I
any
mean, your
sense.
voice is getting muffled. Is your headset plugged in?
It is.
Yeah, yeah.
Am I
Now it's
audible
good.
now?
No, yeah, yeah. Now it's good. Yeah,
Okay, for me, like investing that amount of money on a pace bowler doesn't make sense because at the same time, we must keep that in mind that Mitchell Stark is quite injury prone at the same time, and he does have international commitments. That is one reason guys like Hazelwood didn't get a contract this IPL. And as you guys said, that it was more about the ego itself, and whoever gets to bank on him wins the race. So for me. I think they should have invested. They shouldn't have invested that much money on someone like Mitchell Stark. Rather, they could have, diversified their bowling options. As I can see that, they don't have proper local seaming options. And I think from last year's squad, they released Lockie Ferguson and
Yeah.
they got Mitchell Stark in as a replacement. But I think they should have, bought some local pacers at the same time because I don't see much options. And even if Stark gets injured, you don't have someone reliable to back on. That is something I'm seeing as an issue. And at the same time, they do have some international and local stars, but then again, the options are pretty limited. So if one gets injured, who do bring in as an alternative? So I think this squad, they're too much reliant on some stars. They don't have that many options. And, they could have diversified and probably invested on more cricketers who could have, given them better commitments and who could have, who does have better fitness at the same time. Because I don't see someone like Mitchell Stark playing the entire tournament, giving them that service. Because if you're buying someone for 25 crore, you are expecting that guy to play at least most of the matches. But with someone like Mitchell Stark, I don't see that option. So they could have invested on. I mean, with that amount of money, they could have invested on some better players. I'm not saying Stark is a bad option. He's still one of the finest pacers there, but we have to look at his age as well. He's getting old. He's like 33, 34. So at this point they could have invested on some younger players who are more specialized in this particular format. So that's how I look into the issue.
So is Chetan Sakaria your backup option for Stark then, left arm seamer?
But Chetan Sakaria, like you guys talked about, like he's not in his best of form. He started with some, with I think he debuted with the Rajasthan Royals and he did
Yeah.
really
All
pretty
right.
well. But for Delhi Capitals, he didn't perform that well, and he's not in the international circuit anymore. He's not in the radar anymore. So I don't see him as a reliable option. Yes, he's still quite young. He has years left in his cricketing career, but I don't see him as someone who could replace the likes of Mitchell Stark, a player of Mitchell Stark's caliber that easily. So they still have some changes to make, some improvements to make. So let's see, because
Stark,
yeah.
Stark and
Uh,
Sakaria aren't alike for like in any universe. Rather,
Yeah,
they're going to
Sakar
try
is
and
more like
replace him
death
with
bowler,
Gus
right?
Atkinson if needed. With Sakaria, the one advantage that you get is once the wickets in Eden Garden start getting slower and lower, that's when Sakaria
Yeah,
really
because
comes in. That's how
Sakaria
he was
has really
successful in
good slower
2021.
balls. Exactly.
Exactly.
Like when he came into the limelight for Rajasthan Royals, we all because Mustafiz and Sakaria was bowling together, and everyone was praising that duo because both of them had really good slower balls, and it was more like their stock deliveries back during that season. So having someone like Sakaria, and as you said, he's more useful in the Eden Garden pitches when the ball gets they get some purchases from the wickets. So yeah, you can back on someone like Gus Atkinson, but then again, I think Alvi have meant like for like replacement, as in both are left arm seamers. So
I,
in
I was
that
asking
sense,
if
they
I was asking if that's what KKR is thinking because if you look at the left
Okay.
arm options, yeah, I mean okay,
They,
They needed
they
local
want
pacers too.
pace. They want
Yeah.
pace. And they
right. I,
want
Simply
I
pace.
local
haven't I
pacers
haven't
are like
seen much of Gus Atkinson, so I don't know if he's left or right.
He's
no,
right
he's
guard.
right.
But
What do
okay,
you
so I
mean? He
mean,
played at
who
the
is
World Cup, right?
KKR's other left arm option then?
You don't have to replace a left arm seamer with another left arm seamer. It
yeah
can be a right
They
arm
just
seamer
need
too,
a
right?
power bowler, like essentially someone
Yeah.
who can hit the deck hard or someone who can bowl those Yorkers. Which
Yeah, that's
I mean,
Gus
Atkinson's
Atkinson, right?
bowling pretty well right now, even in West Indies. He's bowled the death overs well. He's bowled like hit the deck kind of enforcer role, something they had
But
with Lockie Ferguson.
okay, we are talking about replacements. We are talking about different alternatives, but we are still, if Stark's not playing, we're looking at Gus Atkinson. But here's my thing: like, do they have enough, local options to back these players? Because you only get to play for international players, but what about the local stars? So Varun Chakravarti at this point, they are retaining him every season, but is he that effective? He's a spinner, but l- even look at their bowling options in terms of paces. They like except Chatan Sakari, I don't see anyone else. So what do you guys have to say about that?
Chakravarti had a good season last year, and one thing we can say in his favor is the fact that does well in the UAE. Now, this time, it's expected that there will be matches in the UAE because of the Indian election. It hasn't been officially confirmed yet. But if
Yeah,
that happens, that's when Chakravarti again comes into play. Once again, the Eden Gardens pitch last year, it favored Chakravarti. If it does again, the Chipok wicket could favor him. Some other wickets, low and slow, especially if it starts getting hot and humid in India later in April, beginning of May, that's when Chakravarti will really come into play. And the two mystery spinners, if they're doing well, they complement each other. If they're not, the one good thing is they can cover for one another,
yeah,
and that sort of helps.
yeah. And they have Shreyas Sharma too, right? He
So
had
yeah,
a good
He's
Sharma,
good,
season
yeah.
last year,
he's a
so
good wrist spinner.
yeah. So I think yeah.
So the question is, had they not invested in Mitchell Stark, had they saved up this money, who do they invest on? Given the number of foreign players and local players, both are in many sense limited. Given that this is a mini auction, you don't have a lot of options to begin with, not a lot of proven options.
Yeah,
I
I
think
yeah, yeah. Go on, Samit. Go on.
I think they were going for, they want, as you say, they wanted a left from seaming option. And if they, looked for an international bowler at the same time, they could have gone for someone like Spencer Johnson, who was bought by Gujarat Titans. And he could have been a like for like alternative to someone like Mitchell Stark. When you look at Stark, you expect some quick deliveries from him. He's your premium fast bowler, and you would have got a similar service from someone like Spencer Johnson. And if you look at him playing other franchises too, he was part of one of Knight Riders franchise. I think it was LA, right?
LKR in
Yeah,
MLC. Yeah,
in MLC.
yeah.
So they could have got him instead, and they could have purchased him for much lesser money, for like 5 crores or something. So he could have been a really solid option. He could
His
have
price
been.
went up to 10 crores, so KKR would need to
Yeah,
invest
Okay,
like
yeah.
11 or 12
Okay,
crores.
11
okay.
or
10,
12. Yeah,
11 or 10 is still decent. Like compared to
yeah.
24, you still get him for cheap. So he was definitely one option. And there were two Indian options as well. They could have reinvested on Shardul Thakur, who and could have bought him for much lesser. They released him, but they could have got him for much lesser. And at the same time, there was someone like Harshal Patel, who could have been your pace bowling all rounder, could have given you some service with the bat, and he's a really good death over bowler as well with his slowers and stuff. And we previously talked about how in wickets like Eden Gardens you get that purchases for slower deliveries. So
Yeah.
he could have been one good option as well.
Harshal Patel millionaire again. Yeah, he
Yeah.
just keeps.
He will always be that. That's the
Yeah, yeah,
advantage, like
yeah.
you're a
And
national team bowler, you get dropped by your franchise, they're going to spend good money for
there's
you.
gonna be other people always. Yeah, 100%.
You feel bad for the likes of Mohammad Shami, who gets stable teams every time, and they're not, spending as much time in the auction where they could have earned easily
What
15,
was it
16 crores
last
easily.
year? It was before the mega auction where RCB released Harshal Patel so that he could get his true price. Kind of, he could
That
get
was
the
so
kind
ridiculous.
of
And they said that they would buy Yuzvendra Chahal, their best bowler at the
best
time,
bowler.
and they simply
Yeah,
didn't.
get
It
it.
was a
Okay.
ridiculous
Like I
thing
have
to
a
do, man.
question. I have a question. Do these players get the chance to, just say that, okay, we don't want to stay with this team anymore. We want to go back to
Yeah,
that option so that.
Thing did it. Thing did it. What's his name? Shikhar Dhawan did it famously a few years ago, where he basically said he
Because
didn't want to be with SRH
yeah, as
anymore.
we're talking about Kolkata Knight Riders, there's a guy like Rinku Singh. Even like let's not talk about bowlers, but talk about Rinku Singh, who could have he's getting only 50 lakhs right now, but if he was in the auction, they would have bought him for some like 10 crores or
I
more.
think for Rinku Singh,
Here's
he's
the thing.
thinking
Here's the
they
thing.
brought him on the
Actually, there's
map,
a very
right?
good answer to this.
KKR
When
basically brought up Rinku
This
Singh
guy is too loyal. This guy is too.
scouted him out of nowhere,
out of
Nowhere.
when he
nothing.
was
Yeah, exactly.
when he was
I
performing
used to watch him on
reasonably well
IG
for UP.
Reels.
He
Yeah.
used to
Yeah,
play
yeah,
for
yeah.
Punjab Kings, right?
No, no,
No, no, no. Never,
no.
never. He played for
He
no other
did.
franchise.
That's
He's
it.
from
Like,
UP. He played
bro,
for
that's
Kolkata from
like go to
2018.
ESPN, go to ESPN. That's in his bio.
Maybe he was in the
Like
squad,
yesterday.
but
Squad. He never played.
he never
Okay,
played.
he might have
2018, he
not played,
debuted
but
for
he was
KKR, and
in the
that was
squad.
his first game.
Yeah.
Damn.
So the reason as Alvi said, KKR basically scouted this guy when no one was going to give him a chance. They stuck with him through the whole 2018,
Almost 5 years.
2019. Had to drop him
Yeah.
in 2020 because of the COVID restrictions. They had to limit the players. Brought him back in for 2021, 2022. They kept him around. They stuck with him. They said, okay, we are going to invest in you and you're going to give us something. Everyone laughed at that idea. And
Yeah.
Like
it
Barca
has
with
been
Messi.
said,
Bangladesh with Chomo.
Messi was proven from day one. Come
You
on.
guys
No,
are
no, he was
these are
proven.
absurd
But I mean, Barca
comparisons.
basically অত ছোট থেকে পালতে হবে Barca.
Alvi, don't try, man. Don't try. You're
ভাই
already
আমি
going to
এটা বানায়
don't try with
বলছি
football, please.
ওরে কি বার্সা ছোট থেকে পালে না তুই আমারে বল ওর ওষুধ
Yes,
খাওয়ার
that's
টাকা টুকা
completely
সব টাকা
absurd
বার্সা দিছে
comparison. No one laughed at them for doing
ভাই
that.
আমার
Everyone
এত কাটিং
accepted it.
করতে পারবো না, প্লিজ রাত 12:30 বাজে, প্লিজ ইয়ে কর।
আরে
Okay,
আমরা
so
এখনো
coming back to the
কলকাতায়।
topic, KKR, and it's also believed that the franchise is compensating, quote unquote, compensating for Rinku Singh's performance by handing him bonuses. And more importantly, KKR is the reason he got to play for India, and he's still getting to play for India. He's a regular in the T20 setup now. He's made his ODI debut.
Got a
Yeah,
wicket.
That's more than what you can ask for, right?
yeah.
Can we, because we were talking about Spencer Johnson, can we then move to Gujarat? The team
Yeah,
that
yeah.
eventually bought
Bring
Spencer
up the
Johnson.
My
squad.
favorite team.
Let me bring up the squad.
I thought your favorite team is Chennai now.
No, Gujarat Titans pick, assistant players or, players from
Gujarat Titans pick
Afghanistan. Sorry,
GT20
not
GT20 player.
not associate. They pick players from Ireland and Afghanistan.
Technically KKR did too because they picked GT20 player of the tournament.
Oh yeah, that is true.
Okay, here we go.
Gujarat. Oh, Gujarat.
Now here's the thing, Gujarat, because they quote unquote lost Hardik
They
Pandya.
got
They
bullied
had a
out,
lot of money in the bank.
bullied. They got bullied into selling.
38 crore. That's what
Yeah,
they had.
yeah.
And this is how they invested that. Most of that 38 crore. They actually left like a good 7-8 crore.
So
Yeah.
Robin Mins, he's like one of the wicket keepers from Jharkhand, I think, and
But he
he's
can
one of
also bowl part-time like Glenn
part time.
Phillips.
Yeah. So he's one of those uncapped players. I was looking at Twitter the day before the auction, and there was like a lot of talk about Kumar Kushagra and Robin Mins, both of them, and there was a lot of expectation that Kushagra was gonna go for much more than Mins, but apparently a lot of scouts had actually looked at Robin Mins and said he looks like he's someone that can develop through an IPL team academy, um, or like just being in a setup for a couple of years, and he might be able to give a lot to even Jharkhand or even Indian cricket as a whole. So he's had a few trials, I think, with a couple of IPL franchises. So yeah, not surprised he's gone for 3.6. I think I wasn't expecting 3.6 given the stuff I was reading. Maybe people were expecting maybe like 2 crores or something like that, but seemed like all teams had interest in him.
Is it better now? Can you guys hear me?
It's
No,
way
it's
worse.
worse.
It's
Way
worse.
worse.
It's worse right now.
Okay, let me see what I can do.
Still can't hear anything.
Now he's just stuck. Oh no, no, he's okay.
What about now?
No,
Worse.
Hello, hello, hello.
Oh,
bad.
it's just getting worse, man.
It's just getting worse and worse. Any surprises with Omar Zai only getting 50 lakhs?
They're
Actually,
even
I'm
calling
not
him a quote unquote
surprised.
like for Hardik.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say because
Yeah,
like if you look at his price tag,
that's
he
five.
only got only 50 lakhs. It's I didn't expect that much from him considering he's from Afghanistan and he's not from someone from Australia. So in that sense, like him getting a team is a big thing in itself. And after the World Cup, like Kibre was saying, he would have definitely got an IPL team, and he did. And who else but Gujarat Titans, who really showed faith on Afghani players before and
Yeah,
still doing right
And it
now.
paid off
But
before.
yeah,
right.
it did pay off. It did pay off, and they let someone like Hardik Pandya go. Omar Zai can't be like the absolute replacement to him, but at the same time, he's on overseas players. But the way he batted in the World Cup, that too, in India, and at the same time, the bowling he's about to give you, the service with bowling he's about to give you, he's a special player, and he's really good with the new ball. He can swing both ways, and at the
Yeah,
same time, if you need him,
middle overs.
in the middle overs for like even for his batting, he can give you some, score some quick runs, which is really valuable to the team. But then again, uh, where do you play him? Like for whom? Like they only get to play four overseas players. So who is gonna be who are the four overseas players you're looking at?
Now, this is my question to Alvi. When you have someone like Shubman Gill, Rashid Khan, David Miller, Mohammad Shami, even Spencer Johnson, five players who are in some of the best form of their lives, be it proven at different stages, doesn't that automatically stabilize this team and show that it's already a much more balanced team than the KKR we were talking about 10 minutes ago?
GT could have not bought anybody this auction and still would have had a better team than most teams combined. I mean,
That is true.
they're
Yeah,
solid that way.
yeah. And Sai Sudarshan's opening the batting now for India, right? So technically he
I
can
think
big
compared
opening.
compared to Kolkata, they do have like much more options, right? And even if you look at their Indian options, like the Pacers, they do have Umesh Yadav, they do have Mohit Sharma, who are old, but at the same time they're still contributing to their team. They can still do something with the ball in hand. So with the options in mind, I see they also have someone like Josh Little who has done well at the same time. So
Also,
they
someone like
do
Kartik Tyagi. You want someone
exactly
young, you have
Kartik
Kartik.
Tyagi. Yeah, you have
Even
because
you've
you
got
can
they've got Vijay Shankar,
yeah
who's been doing well recently. So I mean,
you can
everyone's
Yeah.
back
clicking.
yeah you can back on someone like Kartik Tyagi for a long time. If he does well in this season, you can keep him for a longer period. So investing him on someone as young as him, it's a good call. And as I said, like Kolkata lacked that diversity, but for this team, they do have a lot of options in hand.
I
Shahrukh
think that about
Khan,
Shah Rukh
Shahrukh
Khan, oh
Khan.
man.
That's a big
Okay,
buy.
big buy.
you guys are talking about like for like replacements, but this guy is a pace bowling all rounder at the same time, right?
Shahrukh
I
Khan, but
mean,
he does no. He's
no,
just like he doesn't bowl as much, but he's just
yeah,
outright
but
Finisher,
batsman.
basically.
Yeah, he's a
exactly.
finisher.
If he's a finisher, okay. I was like, forget it.
Yeah,
And
but
here's the thing with all rounders, because the impact sub rule is still there, you don't really need all rounders as much. That's one
and
advantage which
even
Indians
if
have
you want,
misused.
you can play like if you're batting first or if you're bowling first, you can technically play one less overseas player and you play the overseas player as a
Uh,
big
I
bench.
mean, they actually wanted someone who could smack the ball, from the very start, like Hardik Pandya, and they got Shah Rukh Khan for 7.4 crores, which is not
Yeah,
bad, and he can contribute equally and if given the chance. So I think he's a really good pick because before the start of the auction, having someone like him, Punjab released him. I was a bit shocked because they gave him the platform, they gave him the start.
yeah.
So, Gujarat,
Almost made an ODI debut too
right?
recently. Yeah.
Exactly. So having him for 7.4 crores is not bad at all. And They have, invest with that amount of money. They had around, I think, 40 crores in bank. So they did, keep a lot of options open, and the youngsters look, the options with, the all the young options they have, they look pretty solid as well.
Maybe Shahrukh will come in more in place of Tewatia because with the whole impact sub rule, Tewatia is not bowling at all. So you're not really getting a difference between Tewatia and Shahrukh Khan. If anything, Shahrukh Khan's now bowling more in domestic cricket. So they'll probably just use Shahrukh Khan more in place of Tewatia.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
Tewatia, legend of IPL by now,
Yo, what about Ridhaman Saha? How is this guy still playing?
bro.
He's playing
He
well
does
though.
He's doing well.
he
He's
does the
doing well.
job
Yeah.
as an opener, right? But like
Very good
this,
keeper.
yeah.
Very
But
good opener. What else do you need?
I don't know. Maybe Matthew Wade takes up the gloves. Sai
But that's an
Sudarshan and
overseas
Shubman.
slot that goes for
Yo,
I
completely.
know.
that's
Yeah.
that's where the confusion like lies. Like, who do you play as your four overseas? Like, you have Miller, you have Rashid Khan. There are your two fixed pairs. You probably play Spencer Johnson as well because you spent a lot of bucks on him. So, who is your fourth option then?
I think Wade misses out unless Saha is injured or unless some other Australian player is injured. Other than that, it's probably going to be Miller, Rashid Khan, Williamson, and probably Spencer Johnson as well, at least for the start.
I think they'll also not go with Williamson because they with Saha, Gill, and Sai Sudarshan, they have a solid top three right there. They
Right. So
won't
they
really
can, they can
back
rather go for
Williamson.
someone like Asmatullah Omar Zayan. They are looking for Hartik's
Exactly.
replacement. So having him in the 11, having him play regularly, they can fill that spot. So that's a good buy.
And more spin friendly conditions, they can always go with Noor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're
And
keeping
it's
Williamson on the bench.
similar to how Afghanistan used him at the World Cup. Right?
I mean,
What
it's
if they make Williamson the backup captain? Like he's a sub, but he comes in if Gill gets injured
You've
as the
killed it. Yeah, it could be. And then you have to drop a local guy, but I think yeah, I mean
they
the
can make it
way
work.
their balance, like exactly like you said, they can make it work. With any combinations, they can make it work because they have so many options in the squad.
Always interesting. Which team do you guys want to cover next?
Mumbai Indians,
Mumbai.
right there. Let's do it.
Let's do it then.
Scroll down.
Mumbai Indians. Okay.
All the
Why
controversy.
does it show Rohit Sharma captain? Why? After so much controversy, why? What is this?
And I don't think they say Hardik Pandya in the squad there.
No, it
It does
Back in
does.
the
show it
Second name.
past.
right
Oh,
here.
it does? Where does it? Oh, sorry. Next one. Okay, I didn't see. I was like looking down. Yeah.
But yeah, just to clear the confusion, Rohit Sharma is not the captain. Wisden, I don't know why you messed up there, but they did.
Their
Anyways,
batting order is stacked with some really good Indian options, but I was kind of surprised to see them going for Nabi Thusara and at the same time Madhushanka.
No,
Madhushanka might not.
Madhushanka
No,
and Gerald.
Madhushanka had a good World Cup, so and
Recency bias.
having
It's all recency
exactly it's
bias.
recency
Just
bias, and at the same time, with someone like Jayawardene and Malinga in the coaching panel, going for Sri Lankan players shouldn't be that big of a surprise. But uh, how do you see the options? Like, do you see that if they're lacking on someone or not?
I think the only two
reliable
decent or
spinner maybe.
the only two buys that could make a difference are probably uh, Gerald Coetzee and Madhushanka. The other ones are very hit or miss. Nabi, if he gets the game, I guess. But I think everyone else is very, low key
I think most of they had to release Jafra Archer this year, right? So
because he's
uh,
always injured.
yeah, I mean, and at this point, England is not going to release him for the IPL anymore because when he came back this year, he got injured in the IPL, and now they're having to wait another 9 months or whatever for him to recover. So,
Did he
and
play last year?
Yeah, he played like the first couple of games or something like that, and
And
then
even
got
if he
injured.
played like the way he played this, 2023 season, it shows that, it's not worth it. He's not worth
Yeah,
80 crores, not
yeah,
for the 4 or 5 games that he's going to be available
yeah,
for.
exactly. And it
Man
doesn't
only
make
dreamed
sense.
to see Bumrah and Archer ball together, but the dream still remains a dream.
That's why they bought him early, right? Knowing that he
Right.
would not
Right.
be able to play in 2022 at all. But yeah, I think like here, Coetze is a very good pick. I think he's shown his abilities at the World Cup, and he's shown since his debut at least, that he can contribute with the ball in all type of conditions, and he can also bat, towards the end, which is good to have. Interesting, Shreyas Gopal's back in IPL ranks again. He was lost for a couple of years, but really good leg spinner always. And I think Mumbai was the
Good
first
opportunity
place
for
where,
him because they could use a spinner, really.
yeah, yeah, like Mumbai was the first place where he actually got his exposure. I think he started off in
Yeah.
Mumbai and then went to RR and stuff like that. But yeah, so good to see him back.
So the spinning options they have are Kumar Kartikeya, Piyush Chawla, and Shreyas Gopal. And they can also, if they want, they can play someone like Mohammad Nabi too. So are these the only options for spinners they have?
Well, you have Tim David who can roll the arm
I
over here
mean,
and there.
okay.
Shams Mulani is also a left arm spinner from Mumbai. So
Arjun
technically,
Tendulkar bowls at the pace of spinners.
Uh, I think Arjun is just
Rohit Sharma
surface.
and his off spin have a hat trick in
a hat
IPL.
trick in
You want to count
IPL.
that
Yeah,
as well?
yeah, yeah.
I think their batting is quite stacked, to be very honest. There's
Yeah,
no
it
concern
always is.
regarding that. Yeah, but the question is, how do they, line up their bowling? Like, who are gonna be the, five bowlers? So that's the question.
Recent performances might have helped him get a place in that starting 11 for the first game of the season. Maybe depends on how it goes for them, like ahead of the IPL camp.
If we're going to talk about the bowling, does it also not help when you have someone like Romario Shepherd and Jason Berendorf? And on the other hand, you have Koitze and Madhushanka. These are two, like, very well matched pairs of like for like replacements,
Yeah,
regardless of injury
exactly.
or form.
Yeah, yeah, and like Romario and Coetze can interchange all the time, and Berendorf and Madhushanga can interchange all the time. Nuwan Tushara is more of a, like Samin said, kind of a Sri Lankan pick from their
Slingy action is
management
going to work
staff.
with
That's like a
Yeah,
Malaysia
lot
this
of
season.
money. Like that's like a lot of money invested. Like
it's just
around 10
T10,
crores on
T10
two
and
Sri Lankan
LPL
players and two Sri
performance.
Lankan pacers. So
Yeah,
I think that doesn't make sense to me because
Madhushanka
you're
in
already
any
buying
other year
someone.
would not get this much.
Yeah.
It's just a
No, no, no.
recency
Only
You
for
bias
the
wouldn't
thing.
even
World
get
Cup.
it
Yeah.
if
Recency
you
bias.
forget everything
Yeah,
else.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
because
just
you have already spent a lot of your money on someone like Gerard Coetzee, and you're buying two Sri Lankan pacers for 10 crores. That doesn't make sense to me. How many of them, are you gonna play in the starting
Mumbai
11? So,
spent their money wisely. I mean, if you look at what Kolkata did and what Mumbai did, you would expect Mumbai to be throwing around money more than Kolkata. But Kolkata is the one who sort of threw it away, and Mumbai, they
But
have
Mumbai
backup
didn't
for
have a
all of
big
their
budget to begin
internationals.
with.
yeah. They were
Right,
just looking
but I
to fill
mean,
like backup gaps here and there,
yeah.
guys
So
who
if you look,
have.
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you
yeah.
look at their, let's say, like we said, Mario Shepard and Jason Berendorf, and you've got backups, a right arm and the left arm, and they're both international, so they pretty much ticked all the boxes. Whereas KKR is sort of,
Yeah,
lopsided.
those first six names essentially pick themselves on that squad, right? And the rest of it you kind of have to fill out.
so
And
you're
that's an
only
interesting comparison with KKR. Like, if you see this team that they already had, this existing team, it's solid in a sense that
It's
it
already
has
good.
most
Yeah,
bases covered anyway.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Unlike KKR, like KKR weren't getting, like, it's one thing to worry about Stark's backup. They didn't have Stark to begin with. They didn't have anyone playing Stark's role to begin with. So first they needed to fill that, and then they needed to start worrying about his backup. And that's where they sort of got Gus Atkinson at a reasonably good price, I would say. So that's what KKR's real problem was. They didn't have anyone being that lead. pacer in the
Spencer
first place.
Johnson and Gus Atkinson weren't even playing professional cricket last year at this time, and now they have like shit
I
ton of
think
money.
I think with the amount of Indian batters, like good batters they have in their squad, so do you guys like for pace bowling options with just with Bumrah, are you relying on the overseas options more than the local options? Because you already
Given
have
how
your
much
batting
Arjun
orders.
Tendulkar played last year, I can see him play.
Yeah, he's playing
Yeah, like I can see
Panchi
him
Kota
playing for like at least half of the season,
at least six,
possibly.
7 games. Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay, so for their batting, like if you see, I only see Team David playing as an overseas batter. Like, do they have any other? Okay, for an all-rounder, we can get someone like Romario Shepherd in the 11. But
yeah,
for the bowling options, you look at like for pace bowling options, you have someone like Jasprit Bumrah. So you have to pick another overseas bowler because you're not picking that many overseas batters. So that's we're going with someone like Gerard Coetzee, and they have Madhushanka as well. So
You can
I
literally
like
pick
think
both of them.
Behrendorff kind of starts the season basically new ball
yeah.
with Bumrah, and
Bumrah.
then Shepard's there as your all rounder, like seamer all rounder, and
Koitzeb performs in the middle
Kwesi's
then.
the exactly the
He
middle
shares
and
the workload with Hardik Pandya in the middle.
yeah, and yeah. So I think that's your three right there, and then uh maybe Nabi plays or
Unlikely. Because you're
maybe
already having four
Brevis
pacers, sorry, four
plays.
overseas
Yeah,
players right here.
yeah. Oh, you have your four. Oh, yeah. Team David and the three. Yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's your four right
like
there.
okay, if you decide to not play Romario Shepherd, like for any
We're playing
injuries or
Shepherd
like
though.
okay, now
Oh,
if he faces any injury, that time you can pick someone like Mohammad Nabi and go for another pace bowling options to cover his
especially
slot,
in
right?
spin
Yeah,
So
friendly
that
conditions.
exactly that's how I look at it.
Solid. This is a good team for Wankhede, especially, and that's where Kolkata were struggling to trying to find the exact right team for Eden Gardens, not knowing what Eden Gardens is going to present. But you know
yeah,
what Wankhede is going to give you, and with in Wankhede, most days you're going to need the extra pacer. You're traveling maybe to the UAE, maybe to conditions like Chennai, Lucknow. That's when you're going to need your spinners to come in more and more. So this is a
yeah.
very well balanced team in that sense. Think we can move on to our next one, and that is Lucknow Super Giants. Just a reminder, KL Rahul has almost confirmed that he's going to bat in the middle this season, not opening.
Interesting, interesting, interesting. Is it to
And
give
again,
his?
they're one of
Is
those
it to
teams
give his
who Joy
boy
Bhattacharya was saying that they could have literally, as Alvi was saying about Gujarat, they could have literally bought
not picked
no
anyone?
one and they'd
Yeah,
be fine. And they didn't even buy that many players to begin with.
yeah. They
Ashton
only bought
Turner,
4 or 5 guys, right?
Ashton
Um,
Turner, why?
Devdutt Padikkal. Is he giving his boy Devdutt Padikkal a run in opening with Quinton?
I suppose.
Yeah, yeah. Besties, eh?
Unless they go the Myers route again.
They could have been Myers. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. That's also and he covers two roles, right, with
Two
ball
roles.
and bat. So and
But if
he's given
Myers
up
opens,
his
then
yesterday.
Stoinis, out of form Stoinis, is not likely to play.
Yeah, I think then Stoinis becomes like the backup option, right? Because then you go kind of Quinton Myers, uh,
Puran.
Puran,
Pandya,
Kale,
KL Pandya,
Krunal, um,
Huda.
and then Deepak
Huda,
Huda. Yeah.
Deepak Huda.
So
Huda. Do you guys feel like Huda is like Shomo for the IPL because he doesn't do well for like 12 years, and then one day all of a sudden he
Yeah, which
scores
is why
60 off
Ayush
12.
Badoni might come in his place.
yeah.
Yeah. So Huda
Badoni
keeps
would
getting
Badoni
a
had a
team.
good season. Badoni had a
Huda
good season.
Huda Huda hit 180. Shomo hit 169. They're going toe to toe.
Yeah, like for like,
Like,
might as well get
but
Shomo in.
I think it's interesting. Deepak Huda was playing for India literally a year ago,
Yeah.
and
He
he
Scored
hit
an
even
a
got a
T20
T20
and a
T20
at
century,
century.
100
and they were
too.
saying replace Virat Kohli and bring him in as the number three.
Yeah, Harsha Bogle seems
Crazy
pretty
times.
pissed off that Harsha Bogle on his Twitter, he seemed pretty pissed off that Deepak Huda didn't get a longer rope with the national team or something like that.
Yo, I don't get their picks this season because the players they have bought, okay, they have got for Shiva Mavi, who always, whenever in the auction goes for big money. It's not a surprise to me, but what
Funny,
is
Kamlesh Nagarkoti didn't go sold this year for big
like
money.
that duo, Nagarkoti and Shivam Mavi, like
It's
every
because
other
they're
season
they're
starting from 2018,
yeah.
this
It's from
duo
that
always
World
looks
Cup,
similar.
right? From
Yeah.
that under 19 World Cup where they
Under
bowled
19 World Cup,
express
yep.
pace and everyone was like, "Oh my God, India has express pacers like this."
I'm surprised guys like Phil Salt didn't get a team and someone's like
What is
Ashton
up with
Turner in
that?
this.
Yeah, Phil
What is up
Salt,
with Phil Salt not
such a
getting a
good
team?
year last year. Um,
Scores a century before the auction and after the
After
auction.
the auction, yeah, it's just like like Ravindra recency bias, obviously.
Yeah, but it only went for 50 lakhs.
Travis Head
1 crore
recency
80
Ravindra.
lakhs.
bias.
Oh, sorry, 180. Yeah.
Travis Head, if you look at his T20I records, it's not that good, honestly. But did well at the World Cup. I think what like look at Cameron Green's price tag, crazy price tag.
That's
It's
how IPL works. Recency bias and all
no,
hype.
it's a lot of it. Yeah, is recency bias plus performance in India. You do well in India, everyone thinks, oh
And
yeah, this
against
guy.
India, of course.
Yeah,
But
against India. If you do well in India or against India, is you're just straight up uh, what's bagging big bucks at the auction table. And
Can we call this a steal?
oh, massive! I think him losing, basically deciding to retire from international cricket, pretty well documented about why he retired. Kind of it kicked around everywhere last couple of years by ECB, and to have David Willey as your option base price essentially. I think this was his base price, right? So
Base price, yeah.
they just got a steal next 2 3 years, pretty settled with that option. At least until the next mega auction, he's gonna be around. So yeah,
I
left
don't
arm
see Amit
pace.
Mishra's name, but he's in the squad.
Did he
I don't know
retire
what's up
yet,
with that.
or he
No, he's
hasn't
in the squad.
retired yet, right? Or
No. He
no?
said that as long as so this is a funny thing. Like Harsha disclosed this. He had an interaction with Harsha where he mentioned that as long as impact substitution is a thing, he's gonna keep playing
Oh yeah, because he just
because
has
he
to
doesn't have
come
to
in
do
and
anything
bowl
else.
four
Just come in
overs
4 overs,
and hide at fine leg, right? Yeah.
which is why a lot of people aren't fans of this whole impact substitution thing. It's ridiculous. It's
It's
like a
taking
video game
out
gimmick almost.
exactly.
And now
Yeah.
they're changing the bouncer rule as well. You can
Oh
bowl
yeah,
two
two
bouncers.
bouncers and over.
5 years down the line, cricket won't even be the same because of the IPL.
they are making the rules. Like
Hmm.
I thought, you only
And
follow the
and
rules
they
made by,
were
ICC,
yeah no,
but
and
it's
they
all
were they
IPL.
were criticizing BBL. Like it's funny. Whatever you said is true. Like they're making the rules, but when BBL started making rules like X Factor, whatever, these guys are the ones that were
The same
taunting
thing.
them,
X
saying, "What
Factor
is
was
this?"
basically the impact sub.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, what are you doing? Why are you changing cricket? It's not that." Like,
Because
and
because they want to be the initiators. They want to have that control. Not they don't
yeah,
want to let that go to PPL. That's
yeah,
that's how their
yeah,
mindset works. So, having that monopoly, creating that monopoly, that's where they look at. So I think that's an issue with an IPL, but no one can do anything. That's how the cricketing world works right now. So whatever they say, that's the ultimate rule.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
It's so funny how they're not even the first franchise league to introduce reviews. That was actually Pakistan.
yeah, yeah,
ESL.
yeah, yeah. It's,
Crazy.
it's just
Anyways, I think we can move on now. Royal Challengers
Eh,
Bangalore, everyone's favorite
Aisa
team.
la cup mande.
will they
Where
finally win
are
a
the
world?
bowlers? Where are
Finally
the
win a
bowlers?
IPL trophy?
Yeah, they
Honestly,
Okay,
bought.
is this something that got them kind of into trouble? This whole wait, why can't I highlight this
which
whole Cam Green problem?
yes,
Did they need a batting all-rounder in the first
17
place?
crore for Cam Green. 17,
It's max 5 crores.
bro. Like, in what world does that make sense? And it's
So who's
not
their
that.
fourth? Who's their fourth international then?
Who's their fourth international? Well, they
Most likely
already,
Joseph, given the money.
yeah, like if Devin or Lockie Ferguson depend, but I guess Joseph is their premium option because of, like Rakimu said, the money that they spend, and then
See, that's the problem. You could have easily had this amazing combination where you pick two of Joseph and Topley, or Joseph and Ferguson, or Ferguson and Topley, whatever works for you. Basically, rotate, pick two out of those three, and you have Tom Curran as a backup as well.
yeah,
That's a solid roster right there.
yeah,
But
Mhm.
once you have this weird, you know, weirdly structured top five, you need to have three batters or batting all rounders in your top five. You're not getting enough bowling out of them. Cameron
is
Green
Virat
isn't
opening again
as good a
or
bowler,
I think most likely.
most
You know,
likely.
I've seen a meme where they say, they have picked a batting lineup where they have to score 280s regularly, which is quite possible, 260 at the same time, but they have to have, in every match they have to make sure that they score that mark because their bowling is something, they can't easily defend totals with it. So it has to be that, upper 250 marks to get about with it. So it's a, disastrous, I think, the picks itself. Like, why are you going for someone like Joseph and Cam Green with that amount of money? You could have rather invested on some better local pacers who could have given you more. And, they went for someone like, who's the guy from Gujarat who got smacked by Rinku Singh last season?
Yash
Yash
Dayal, they
Yes,
went
Dayal.
for
Dayal,
him
yes,
yeah,
Dayal.
with
yeah.
5 crores.
What's with this bowling attack? Like, let's talk about more about it.
Yash Dayal's
Is
whole
it good now? Can
career
you guys
got
hear me now?
derailed. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
can
good.
hear you. Yeah,
Yeah, change
Is
of
it
clothes
better?
helped.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
better.
yeah. It's better.
Okay. First of all, I have something to say about this Yash Dial, pick. You can't judge a bowler by one game. Anyone can get
Okay.
hit for 30, over
Yeah.
30 runs over any time. Even Shakib has gotten hit, but not only once, multiple times in international cricket, right? So I don't think that's a fair um
Salahuddin Shakil
like
from India.
what?
Salahuddin Shakil from India.
No, but thing is that one thing I feel like we have to understand about the how the IPL auction works is that they don't necessarily look at the last season's performance. Yeah, that plays that plays into effect. That has its role, in the selection. But at the same time, they I think prioritize a lot how these guys are doing in the domestic tournaments leading up to the IPL. So um I don't know how this guy did, but definitely these guys have scouts watching every single games in these competitions, and I'm pretty sure we shouldn't. I'm pretty sure it's not gonna be the same thing for him. If he turns out for RCB, it could, but I don't think one bad game and he can rule out a bowler like that.
Yo,
No, I
who's
think
your spinner in this squad?
he came back towards the end of the IPL last year. Like after that game, he basically had like a mental breakdown or whatever, and
Yeah, yeah, I
they
think
gave him a
Hardik Pandya
mental
came
health
out and
break.
said he was losing weight and everything.
Yeah, yeah. So they gave him like a mental health break essentially, and then he came back, and I think he had a good game. But if they don't retain him, that says something. Maybe that that,
Then he, quote unquote, got hacked and posted an Islamophobic thing on
yeah,
his
yeah, on his
Instagram.
Instagram,
Oh,
yeah,
Oh man.
I think the girls dating Muslim
Yeah,
boyfriends
the
and
love
if
jihad
they're
one. Yep.
yeah.
love jihad or whatever. Yeah, that's whatever though.
So
We
that was
have no
like a
malice in our heart for him.
horrendous controversy which he didn't need at that time.
Yeah, RCB's
Yeah.
bowling is too dependent on Mohammad Siraj having a good season, and rest of it is just you have a
Joseph.
lot of guys. Alzari Joseph's IPL strike economy is like 10 point something. Imagine he's going for 50 runs every game. Like
That's pretty much possible. But who are your
Especially in
spinners in this
Chinnaswamy.
list?
who are
Karan
these
That's the
Sharma,
spinners?
problem.
Karan Sharma, and who else?
Karan Sharma and
They
Glenn Maxwell are the experienced lead
Spinners.
spinners right now.
okay.
That's
They
what's
let
happening
go
here.
of Shahbaz Ahmed, who's the guy, the left-arm orthodox spinner
Yeah,
Yeah,
straight.
yeah.
yeah,
They let
Shahbaz
him go.
Ahmed, he was really good. Yeah.
yeah,
He could bat as
One
well.
bad
So
season and they let him
now
go.
it's like
yeah. Shabazz went to SRH. Yeah,
SRH.
SRH. Yeah.
Are they let go on the basis of the previous season or not?
No, it's different rules for different players.
There you go.
For some people, it's previous season. For some people, it's historic record.
Some
Like
people it's domestic,
it's
some people it's
domestic.
the coach.
Like give remember when RCB picked Glenn Maxwell, right? And
Mhm.
Maxwell's had a couple of very dry years leading up to that IPL auction. And
In Kings
when
for
they
Kings 11.
yeah, when they posted the video on why what their thought process was behind picking Maxwell and stuff, Mike Hessen was basically like, "Oh, he averages 20 something in the middle overs with the bat. He strikes at 135, 137 against pace, and 160 against spin or something like that." And they were like, "Yeah, that's enough for me. He bats 20 balls, 30 balls. That will do it for me." Whereas so they're looking at historic record for someone like him, but someone more recent or whatever, you do one bad season and you're out.
And that's what they get. They need spinners. They quit on Chahal out of nowhere. They quit on Shabazz after, investing in him for 2 or 3 seasons. That's what they get. They're getting no results out of this. You're not going to get results out of Karan Sharma. Maxwell on a good day can give you 3 overs, maybe four, but he's not going to win you matches, is he?
No.
Unless we talk about the World Cup final, where 1 wicket from him basically won Australia the game.